What's up, Tyler?
Hello.
Plugged on. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Good. Hanging in there. Been jamming a lot. Going to make a fun Ozzy Osbourne video after this.
Mm-hmm.
Two. But in the meantime, we are going to be talking about the new album from Nightwish titled Human to Nature. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
See that, or I just went with Human Nature, but
Yeah.
however, it's a weird looking album name, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. Regardless, Nightwish, if you don't know them, they are a symphonic metal band. They've been around for a really long time, since the late 90s, and potentially, you could make an argument that they are the first, that they are definitely the biggest in the world in regards to this style of music. And they've had a lot of really great albums too, and we'll get into it, but I personally feel like this is no different. I very much enjoy this one. And so this is the second album with, I want to get her name right, Floor Jansen on vocals. She also did Endless Form's Most Beautiful as well, which was their previous album in 2015, which is a pretty darn good album. They've had Annette Olsen and then Tarja. Tarja's kind of the original, probably maybe most popular vocalist with Nightwish. Done a lot of classic albums with them, and I liked Endless Forms, Most Beautiful back in the day, and revisiting it was pretty fun to go back to. And you and I are both very much symphonic power metal fans, especially,
Yes, very much so.
female fronted bands. I like Nightwish a lot, but I got to go the Epica route when it comes to this. Not to make it a pissing contest between the two, but I know you and I are huge Epica fans as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, anyways, what did you think of this album?
So I'm gonna preface my get the microphone there. My thing by saying this is the first my first full listen to of a Nightwish album.
All
I've
right.
heard songs, but I've never really as I think I stated in our Overkill ranking video. I'm not usually outside of album reviews. I'm not like I'm gonna go listen to an album kind of guy. So, but this is my first full top to bottom checking out of this band, and I thoroughly enjoy the album. As Tyler said, I like symphonic power metal, and there definitely is a comparison between these guys and Epica, but there is a bit more of a different sound. It's a little bit more symphonic, I'd say, Nightwish in some ways, because Epica is definitely a lot more in your face a bit with their stuff in metal, but I like the main thing I think that this album really grabs me with is just the overall the sound and just how everything kind of comes together. It sounds like everything's like a part of a symphony in a way. It's not like how some bands you have the metal and then there's just symphonic stuff in the background. It's all kind of woven together, and I really like that on this whole album. I like that kind of sound, and the opening track, music, is a great example of this. I think probably 4 tracks right in a row that are all really great are Shoemaker, Harvest, Pan, and House the Heart. I fucking love those 4 songs, especially Harvest and Pan. The intro to Pan, I couldn't escape this thought when I first listened to it. I could see that straight coming from a Sabaton album.
Yeah.
Like the intro to that song. But I love how just how beautiful everything sounds on this album. Everything meshes together so well, from the symphonic elements to the metal, which sometimes the heavier stuff peeks through and that's appropriate, but then also a lot of times it's more, again, interwoven and nice. And that's not even talking about the second disc, because it's a double album, which is entitled with all the works of nature which adorn the world stuff, all that stuff, which is, if I'm not mistaken, because there's a lot of it outside of some spoken word intro, the very first thing, I think it's all instrumental.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, and all of that's even more symphonic in a lot of ways than the rest of the album. It's all more just beautifully crafted music, and
Mhm.
it's nice to get that, because the one thing that I like is that there are a number of sounds on this album too. I mean, I really like the intro to Tribal, and I like the song Tribal as well, because that's like just a cool thing that not a lot of bands do, unless you're because I mean, unless you're like a folk band, which I know that, especially on this album, I know Nightwish has some folk elements. Like Harvest is a song that I think of, where
Yeah.
it's like, boom, it sounds like a folk song. Like I could, any folk metal album I could do. Vocals, again, I like, as has been stated multiple times on this channel, I'm a sucker for a good female vocalist. I like the way that the voice sounds, and this album is no different. It's very much like, again, reminds me of like Epica and Elvati and things like that, which are like two of my favorite bands, my favorite symphonic metal and folk metal bands. So I like that, and yeah. Again, if I had to pick the best song, it's probably Harvest, because also Harvest also has a nice mix of, it's either that or Pan. I mean, it has to be one of those two in my opinion, but yeah, I'd go with Harvest. Harvest is probably my favorite song. I just like the intro, and then boom, and then all the folky stuff comes in. It's just, this album's really good. I need to go back and just listen to a bunch more Nightwish, because it's criminal how little of them I've listened to after hearing this album.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of really good stuff, and I like this album a lot as well. And I think the one thing that I just like about it the most is how much of a variety there is. Every song is truly distinct. I feel like more than a lot of albums of this type, and each one kind of has a distinct kind of theme to it, and it's overall just a really uplifting album to listen to. And I think especially in a time like this, that is just a fucking awesome thing to have. And listen, music is an interesting song to open up for sure. I think there's some really good vocal hooks from Floor Jansen on vocals, which we actually saw her live. She, if you remember, the very first band, Revamp, when we saw Iced Earth and Sabaton, she was singing on vocals.
Oh, okay.
They haven't done too much, but yeah. I kind of totally forgot about that band and totally forgot that we saw her live before, just because one, Iced Earth's awesome, but Sabaton stole that fucking show. But anyways, but then to me, you get into the track Noise, which was their first lead single on here, and that is like the banger of 2020 to me so far. I fucking love everything about that song. I think it's impossible to listen to that song and not want to like fucking dance when it comes on, not have a smile on your face. It is so good. It's very typical symphonic power metal of this type, but it is so much fun to listen to, and the chorus is so catchy, and the whole thing's catchy. And that's the thing about Nightwish. They're very much about arrangements in I'm going to butcher his name, but Tomas is kind of he's the keyboard player. He's kind of the mastermind behind this band, and you can tell whenever you listen to any Nightwish album, but I feel like especially this one, it is so well thought through and so crafted. Every single little element of it. You take Harvest, which is a fantastic song, and just that beginning is so awesome to listen to. It's so different. The drums are, got a kind of catchy vibe going on. The vocals are really well done. And then you get to the part where it's nothing but vocals, and everyone's just hitting all these incredible notes. And then you get to the fucking crunchy section in the back end with the guitars that are just heavy and, very folk-like. And that's another thing about Nightwish. They've always, to me, had such an incredibly clean guitar tone that is just fucking really nice. And there are several times on here where, the guitars are kind of heavier, and man, does it pop and sound really good. And then I think Floor Jansen on vocals is just amazing. She sounds great. One of my favorite songs is the very last one on the first half of it, Endlessness, where they're going back and forth. She sounds great on that song. The male vocals sound great on that song. I know there's two guys that kind of sing male vocals on here, so I'm kind of blanking on who did that one. I apologize. But, How's the Heart, she sounds great in. Pan sounds great. I mean, she has an incredible fucking range. And, I think there's a bright future for this band with her out front. And then, the back half is interesting to listen to. I've listened to it a couple times now, and it's goes through a lot of interesting kind of ups and downs and some really interesting kind of atmospheres and emotions that's kind of put into it. And, it's really great to listen to, especially when you are you need something in the background. I ended up listening to this the very first time through while I was working during the day, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty fucking awesome. To have this kind of playing in the background, I just felt very focused. It's very, very cool to see that done. This is their first double album, and it's pretty well done.
It's very well done.
I'm pretty impressed with this album, to be honest with you. I like it a lot.
Same, but you brought up a point that I forgot to mention. This album gives off like a very warm album, and both like the sound and also just the emotions it invokes. Because you just feel happy listening to this, which is weird because a lot of metal. I don't know. To me, at least, a lot of metal. It's maybe I just have a very clinical mind about it. It's just very indifferent. It's music, and it's you either you're good, and then sometimes you'll get excited because of a song, but it's but then this is just wow. It evokes genuine emotion out of you from start to finish.
Yeah, it's good. Any last thoughts?
No, that was basically it right there. Good album, really good.
Yeah, definitely. What would you give this?
8.5 out of 10.
All right, I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. This
Ooh,
is
all right, that's fair.
This is one of my favorite of the year for sure. And let us know what you think of Human Nature or Human to Nature, whatever it's called, from Nightwish. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Plenty of album reviews coming up. I mean, I know you and I did a bunch here recently. So there's Body Count. There is Testament is going up. The new Black Dahlia Murder came out yesterday, so I'll be reviewing that eventually. Next week, there's Trivium, there's Warbringer, there's a lot happening.
Wait, Warbringer? Whoa. I did not know about this one. That's news to me.
Yeah,
hot damn.
Yeah. So, looking forward to it. Anyways, thanks for watching or listening. See you later.